Hello everyone. My name is Sean Simons, also known as PPG Grandpa. You have made it over here to our live show. Actually, you're listening to this Memorex, but if you want to watch it live, make sure you go over to clearproptv.com. And we are live on our show. Hello everybody. This is episode 197. Season 4. This is going to be a great show tonight. As always, let's go ahead and quickly introduce our panel so we can continue to our guest Joe. Let's start with Butch Fly. What's up, Butch Fly, the
Not
PPG
much.
guy?
Not
How you
much.
doing
Just,
today, buddy?
just doing great, man. Happy to be here. Happy to help out and join the show Monday
Excellent.
night. Can't wait.
Well, you don't have to wait. We're live now. Woo-hoo! Now you have a you go fly too. So what is your how do we get to your shenanigans, buddy?
ppgbutch.com, or you can check me out on YouTube at Butch Fly. Just look up
Excellent.
Butch Fly on YouTube.
All right.
Instagram.
You're everywhere too, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the show. We also got our very own Linda Anderson. You can find her at paramontUSA.com. What's up, Linda? And your show. Woohoo!
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Monday night. Hope you all had a great holiday, Turkey Day, and all that good stuff. And we're so happy to have you here with us again tonight on Monday night, the only place to be. And gosh, I'm just really excited about tonight. We got a cool guest. Joe's in the house tonight. And any questions, make sure you put them in the chat. Scuba and Kevin will be looking at the questions and all that stuff. And just sit back, grab your snacks, enjoy the show. And if you want to be a guest on the show like Joe, then you go to ParamontUSA.com, which takes you right to my Facebook page, and just say, hey, I want to be on your show, Paramount, and I'll get you all set up. So there you go. So sit back and enjoy. Love y'all.
Actually, Linda, the ParamontUSA.com goes to a special page now with all of your links.
I know. I saw it. It's
I know.
nice.
You're special now.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
also got Kevin H from Mississippi, MISSISSIPPI. What's up, buddy?
How are y'all doing?
Doing good. How's your practicing on learning how to kite and flying and all that stuff? How are you doing on that, buddy?
Doing great, actually. I feel like learning lots. Planning on coming back. Let's see, December 8th, which is a Friday. I'm gonna do some more kiting and learning, and hopefully get to fly. Past couple times I've been, the wind's been too bad to fly. So, but still learning lots and having a good time.
And that's what it's all about. So good to have you, Mr. Kevin. Thank you for being on the panel tonight, buddy.
Thank you.
And we also got Scuba Steve, not to be confused with Scuba Steve. What's up, buddy?
I'm the only Scuba Steve. What are you talking about? Yeah, you can reach me going to paramotordude.com. That'll take you over to my YouTube channel, which I have paramotor videos on there, and also all my vape shows on there that I do live, where we talk about vape products to get off smoking and paramotors, because if you're a paramotor pilot, you're going to talk about paramotors.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Scuba Steve.
Mhm.
And it's not about us. It's not about me tonight. It's all about Joe. Joe Ahdel, not Adele, right? Joe Ahdel. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man.
Excellent. Nice to see everyone.
Well, it's been really fun listening to you on the pre-show. So, guys, we got a really good show tonight. Joe is up in Indiana. He started off with PPCs, powered parachutes. He's flown pretty much everything, at least RC-wise, and he also has been flying powered paragliders. That's what we do, power paragliders, PPG, since what, 20?
Dinosaurs, I think.
What's that?
Since dinosaurs was around.
Since the dinosaurs. Well, at least
Yeah.
the PPCs was the dinosaurs about 31 years ago. PPGs, what, since the 18s, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Joe, and how did you get into paramotoring?
My love for flying started way back in high school. I've flown RC airplanes and stuff since I was a kid. And in high school, towards the end of high school, I was working at a Christmas tree farm in Walkerton, Indiana, and the owner there started a buckeyed power parachute dealership. And once I saw that, I said, I got to do this. This is going to be great. So he taught me how to fly that in a matter of days, and I got the bug instantly. So when it came to flying, I just really just loved it. It was so peaceful. It was just something that I could do and, just kind of relax. And it wasn't unusual just to shut the motor off too and, glide around a little bit and, or just completely land silent. And that was, back in the early 90s. And then I was working in field radio systems, two-way radio and stuff. I was out in San Diego for a while, and I went to Torrey Pines, and I just really loved watching all the paragliders. And I did a tandem flight out there and a little bit of kiting with the guys. And that kind of got me really interested in something more than power parachute. Never really got to the point where I was, paragliding, but just loved to watch it. And then I also in the 90s I did all of my general aviation single engine airplane training. I enjoyed that, but it was very expensive, so I decided to stick with the ultralight, more of the ultralight inexpensive route of flying. So I had a powered parachute for a number of years, and then I also had a Quicksilver ultralight that I flew until the fabric was wore out, basically. So and around the 2018s, I started got some Black Hawk gear and a velocity wing, and started to teach myself kiting and foot launch. And it was an experience for sure, but there wasn't a lot as far as training, that I was aware of back then, and I didn't know a lot of people that were doing it. So it was closer to 2019 to 2020 when I got on Facebook, and I started to realize, hey, there were people in my area that were doing this stuff. So I was very when I first got back on Facebook, I realized there was a fly-in, Fly the Fort, that had just happened a week before I jumped on. So I was kind of bummed, that I missed it, and ended up meeting a lot of the local guys, and they're, a lot of really good friends now. So we all support each other around here. We have a lot of fun flying and getting together, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, the sport is just fantastic.
It is. I enjoy it too. It's really awesome. I think that we got a lot of people already in the super chat. I posted your link to your YouTube because you only had one subscriber at the very beginning.
And no videos, but
we had one. You have one video,
yeah.
And now you have, as I just looked, 12 subscribers. Woo! So the link
growing.
is.
So now I have to get videos up there.
Now you have to
Yeah.
get videos. I have to go a little bit more.
There you go. You're on a roll now, Joe. You got to.
Now I have to start editing all those SD cards I have sitting around.
Absolutely. So you do both PPG and PPC, and I'm sure that there's questions in the super chat. Scuba Steve, any questions about that by any chance?
Yeah, Tony wants to know what's the difference between the PPG canopy and PPC landing authority.
PPG canopy?
That's what he wrote. That's why I'm like, okay.
Well, so one of the biggest differences, and I kind of miss this a little bit on the PPC, you steer with your feet and your arms don't get tired. So anytime I've flown trike, and with the PPCs especially, flare, I don't remember ever really having a lot of flare authority, if that's kind of what he's talking about. We would always use throttle, we would use power to do that flaring. And you don't necessarily land slow, but you land smoothly.
Yeah, because PPC, you're flying a trike basically, and right now you fly foot launch, right? You don't fly a trike.
Right. So I have, there are a lot of guys in our group that fly the retractor trikes. So I have taken my motor and strapped it onto a retractor trike, and I feel like I'm just screaming across the ground on a go-kart when I'm doing that. But as far as flying, I love foot launching, and more than anything because you have a lot more control. I feel like I have a lot more control of everything that's going on when I'm on my feet.
I'm wondering if you kind of started the same way I did. I mean, since you were into RC stuff, because I know when I was younger, I was big into RC planes and stuff like that. So you were flying, I guess, RC planes or something, and you kind of got to the point where if you did have video on those planes, if not, I don't know, but where you're like, hey, I want to be the one up there doing that, not the plane. I want to be the one flying. Is that how you progressed, or just like the whole thing of seeing it fly made you want to do it? Or
Yeah, because FPV wasn't really a thing back then.
right.
I mean, and cameras and cell phones weren't really either. I mean, I had a bag phone in my car at the time. It wasn't. I didn't have an actual cell phone. Because even when I was flying PPC, I would have like one of the wind up cameras up there with me. A disposable camera is what I was using to take pictures and stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, that's just showing my age, I guess. But
I remember the bag phone. I remember it was $200 a month, and that was
it was so
$1.
expensive.
It was $1 a minute for calling. So that was $200 a month for 200 minutes of calling. And if you called and they didn't answer, you just lost a minute.
Yeah. And you'd have a 20-minute conversation with somebody not thinking anything about it, and then you get the bill like, what?
Then it got to free incoming calls. So you'd be like, I'm not going to call you. You call me.
Yeah.
Because incoming was free.
Yeah, the good old days. These kids just they don't know how we progressed over the last 50 years of needing a dime to call. And actually, our parents, they didn't care. They didn't care that we were out all day, all night. When the lights turned on for at nighttime, that was for us to go home and eat dinner. All right, Scuba Steve. Any more questions in the super chat?
We got a couple, but I see Butch has got one. I'll ask the one that Bill H, and then Butch can get the other one. Bill wants to know, how old are you?
49. I'll be 50 in May.
Ah, young kid.
So
Jawbird 73 wants to know, is there a difference in landing technique between PPG and PPC, I guess?
Yeah, well, like Sean said, trikes are just inherently kind of different, but yeah, even with the PPCs, you do have some flare with your feet, but I don't think it's, the wings are totally different. So it's not like a new paraglider, anything recent, because the technology has changed so much over the years. It's amazing when I fly even like a retractor trike or something, with the new paragliders, you have a lot of control, and you have a lot of flare authority, and you're using your arms. So I just think personally, my preference, and if I'm flying a trike, I use a lot of power on landing. I add power when I'm coming in just to smooth things out.
speaking of which, so you went from PPC to PPG. What what do you fly now? What's your equipment now?
I fly a Skymax Star with a Moster 185. Just a 125 centimeter prop. I haven't done any real modifications there. And my wings are a 24 meter Dudek Snake 1.2 and a 22 meter Dudek Warp 1.
Ah, yeah, I got I'm on a Fly Products rider with the factory R with a 27 meter wing. So I don't know if it's maybe I weigh a lot more than you do. I don't know, but I want to make sure that I get up and not struggle with the wing.
Yeah, I'm right in the 220 range.
I was there until Thanksgiving.
I'm probably 240 now. But
there you go. I go between 220 and 240 like water. It's like, what do you do? I don't know. I want to make sure that I get up and not.
But you got to mute your thing, buddy.
Thank you. Heard myself twice. Man, you don't want to hear that 2 times.
Yeah, so when I first started flying PPG, a lot of my time would be spent flying in the mornings, even up until recently. But I started getting tired of the wet grass and wings getting wet. But I preferred flying in the mornings because the conditions were going to get worse, not better. Right. And I like the challenge. I like the wind, and I like, some of the variables that go along with that active piloting.
You're in Indiana, right? So you don't have any beaches you can go to.
Not close. I mean, Lake Michigan is a couple hours away, but a lot of the dunes and stuff that they had where people would fly a lot are not what they used to be.
So have you had a beach flight is what I'm getting to?
No. I mean, not other than like powered, PPG, yes, but not
well, PPG, yeah, beach flight. I'm just wondering because there's like no thermals. If you fly right on the coast, there's no thermals. So you can fly all day long.
Yeah, you can. And I actually really love having a little bit of wind assist, for takeoffs and landings.
Oh yeah.
Because once I started flying the faster wings, one of the challenges was, how am I going to slow myself down? I'm coming in hot. Yeah, it was a better learn to foot drag and slow yourself down because you're going to need it. So, when I first started flying faster wings, I would come in and I might land on my knees. I might slide in on my chest. But the one thing, and I probably shouldn't talk about this, is I haven't never broken a prop. But that's because I always prefer to go forward than backwards.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that.
I probably shouldn't have said anything.
Now.
Yeah, you'll come back on, later on and say, guess what, guys?
I've got a collection on my wall now.
No, I hope not. Scuba.
I like the ideas. Some of the guys say, yeah, just make a ceiling fan out of the
Tony want to know, have you skydived yet?
I have not.
You have not.
But I have gone up a mile or two in the air just to see, just to sit there and think about, do I really need to jump out of a plane from this high? and
why do it when you're up there anyway? I mean, it's just so nice to float around.
It is. And honestly, with a paraglider, especially the newer paragliders, it takes a long time to come down. It really takes a long time to glide down. And it's not unusual for me to shut my motor off, a couple thousand feet in the air and just glide down to the LZ. But it'll be several minutes before I get down out of the air. And
so if you were in your PPC and you turn off your motor, how quickly would it take for you to get down from a couple thousand feet?
Yeah, not near as long.
It goes down pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, 7 or 8 minutes in a paraglider and like 3 to 4 max in a PPC.
Wow. I don't think I've been over 15 to 1600 feet. That's the highest I've been. Well, besides hang gliding, that was 5,000 feet, but I was hang gliding. But PPG 1500 is the highest I think I've been, maybe 16.
Wow.
That's a good question though for Joe. It's like, how high have you flown in your PPC and your PPG?
So in PPC, I've never been over like 4,000 feet. And I think I've been up about 7,000 feet in PPG.
Wow.
And I got so cold it was just enough. I'd had enough at that point.
Is that why you only went up to 4,000 in your PPC?
I don't know. I just never really. The only reason I would go up there, it was closer to South Bend area where I flew, and it was nice to get up there and see Lake Michigan. On a clear day, you could see Michigan City and sometimes even Chicago from a decent altitude. So that was always fun.
Absolutely. Any other questions on the panel?
Well, Jay just wanted me to let Joe know that there's a fly-in Memorial Weekend, that they do over at Torch Lake, Michigan. And she said, you're welcome to come and do PPC, PPG, RC, whatever. And Paramount will be there too. So
I would love to. Yeah, that would be great.
there you go.
Yeah,
Going out there.
it's fun. That's what that picture, my backdrop or whatever, that was taken last year at Torch. This picture here you
Yeah,
see
go
behind
watch
me.
her because she's gonna go nuts when she gets to fly again. Oh my God. She
I
gets
just-
to ride tandem up and she
I
got-
know. You see, every time you talk tandem,
Yeah.
I get all like, ah. I am. I'm going for my third one.
Well,
Okay.
once you get the bug, man, you want to get up there.
I know. I like it. Oh yeah.
Would you
no,
raise your
yeah,
hand?
I'm just gonna mute myself because then I'm gonna start going all like,
Okay.
yeah, and you
So
guys are
far,
gonna
all
be
I've
going.
done, I've
Here we
I've only
go.
been to Coldwater and Walters. I went to Walters this year.
Where is Walters at?
Is that Saranac, Michigan?
Oh, okay. I think I saw that on the.
Probably that's
Yeah.
not too far from Battle Creek, I think. Oh,
No,
and they had a great RC field there. It was really cool.
There's
Oh.
another guy that flies in Indiana. He works at Kroger and he's got a really long name. I'm gonna have to figure out what it is, but he's in Indiana. Maybe y'all live near each other. Y'all could fly at the same time.
there you go.
Well, Joe, are you on Gaggle? Usually with the
I am.
Gaggle app, you can, okay, so you can see all the people that are flying around you that also have the Gaggle app.
Yes.
There you go. Have you been able to meet anybody or find people that fly in your area because of the Gaggle app?
I haven't met any of them, but I've seen them and I'm like, oh, hey, they're down south. But so we have a Fort Wayne group here. There are a couple of guys in northern Indiana. Paramotor and Brock Howland just started flying. So we went up to Angola last weekend for his first flights and flew with him a little bit. Then just north into the Coldwater area, we've been to Coldwater a few times to fly. James Stump is up there. Kevin and Curtis Woodward, I think they're all over in that area. I definitely want to get to some of these northern Michigan fly-ins. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Oh, they are. Yeah, it's so pretty up here too. I'm only like an hour from Torch, so it's beautiful when you fly over by the lake, and
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah, you'll have a blast. It is.
and then we've got another big group of guys down in the Muncie, Fortville, Indianapolis area now, and their group's growing pretty fast too.
Okay, cool.
So I was wondering if you could explain the difference between flying a PPC and a PPG trike, since you've flown the trike.
Yeah, so I would have to say I actually prefer the larger version, like the PPC, just because of the controls. For PPC, I really always enjoyed the foot steering, and you had hand controls for the front wheel also, so you could push and pull the stick to steer the front wheel when you're on the ground. So the whole time you're in the air, you don't have your hands are free. You don't have anything you have to worry about there.
That's him there, Jedediah Herman.
Where's he at?
He's in Indiana. He's on YouTube, but I know he works at Kroger because he's always talking about Kroger and had his Kroger uniform on, but he flies. He's a pretty new pilot. I mean, I think he's been flying now maybe 8 months or so. But yeah. Somewhere there in Indiana, he keeps talking about the water tower with the smiley face on it. So you know where that is.
Ashley. That's just if it's Ashley, Indiana, that's just half an hour north of me in Fort Wayne.
There you go.
It's always neat when you can find more pilots because of a smiley face water tower.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. There's definitely a lot of pilots in the area here. It's been a lot of fun to meet up with guys and fly together.
So any other questions in the super chat? Kevin, did you see any by any chance?
Tony Marzano wants to know, how's the climb rate compared?
PPG's a lot better. Yeah. So, and it's been a long time since I flew PPC, but the climb rate, it wasn't as great as it is now with the newer paragliders. Well, it depends on your hang point too, so the angle, because a lot of times I fly with a little bit more of a forward hang point, but once I'm in the air, I adjust myself and I'll lean back a little bit, if I want to get a bigger climb rate. And I fly pretty loose in my harness. I don't have anything really tight, and I think that's it's probably different for everybody. It's a comfort level. I have found that having things loose gives me a lot more authority on takeoffs and landings.
And you said you had a Moster 185 on your PPC.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your motor on your I'm sorry, your PPC? Your motor was what?
Rotax. That's a big.
Was that the 502? Was it the 502?
No, it was 400. It's a 400 series. It was smaller. I think the Dream Machines had the 502, didn't they? The big 2-place.
I don't know. On mine, I got
been a long time.
502.
Yeah.
I just wish that they made them. That they still made them. It's gonna be hard to get parts and stuff for them eventually.
Yeah. Now the ones that you see are like something that somebody made. People welding their own frames together and stuff.
Is the Morse reservoir over there? Does that sound familiar? I was just scrolling through his video and I saw Morse reservoir because he was flying over that. So
I'm not sure.
I don't know what the Morse reservoir is. I thought you might know.
Any other Indiana
didn't name
guys
the
in
water
chat
tower
that know this guy?
Kyle wants to know what kind of wind conditions work for PPC.
PPC, I never flew in anything over 7 or 8 mile an hour. It's not at all like PPG where, we'll get crazy and do 12 to 15 mile an hour sometimes. Just depends on the type of wind and the type of weather. But
have you had any crazy weather or wind that was a little bit different than what you were expecting, like on the PPC?
Yes.
Like you start off with the PPC and you went up, it was nice, and then something went crazy, or were your PPC?
I remember getting rocked around a lot in a PPC, in the Buckeye, and I remember landing. I would actually just land. I would just get down as fast as I could. I didn't want to deal with it. I think I feel like I have a lot more control of everything flying PPG.
What felt more solid, the PPC or PPG?
Now to me it would be PPG, but I
Really?
think it's because everything is so much better than it used to be. You've got so much control of the wing, and they fly so much better. I don't, even the wings I fly now, I really don't have any concerns when I'm in the air, but it's not unusual for us to be flying around and a front's moving in or something, and all of a sudden it just gets really bad. And you got to pull big ears to lose altitude because you're not moving or something, you know.
Wow. Now, as far as like the riser system, did you have the split risers in the PPC?
I don't remember split risers.
Okay. All right. So any other questions out there, Scuba
Yeah.
Steve?
Flying Farmer wants to know, what was your scariest event while you were flying?
Uh,
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't broke a prop
and it's
yet,
probably not
but-
going to be what you're thinking either. No trees or anything like that. But earlier this year, I did a 40-mile one-way flight to a pancake breakfast in it would have been from Columbia City to Rochester, Indiana, and that's like on Gaggle, it was like 42 miles one way. And it was an hour and a half to get there. I mean, I was on fumes when I got there. I was coming in over this little lake and I didn't have any gas left. I had my mirror out and I'm swinging back and forth and I'm like, yeah, there's no fuel in there, nothing sloshing around. So landed, had breakfast and everything, and we had refueled there, had some oil with us. And on my way out, I had refilled my coffee container and I kept it in I had in a fanny pack, and I took off and was getting burned on takeoff because I didn't close the container all the way and it was leaking all over me. And I didn't know at that point whether to land or just keep going. And the wind was hitting me good enough. It was cooling off, but I was just soaked in coffee. And that was actually probably my most nervous moment flying.
Was coffee?
It was coffee.
I think that's I don't think I've ever heard a story where coffee was the scariest part, but
Coffee was the scary one.
okay.
That is funny. Yeah, that would
I
kind of
dropped my
make me-
coffee. That was the
Yeah.
scariest thing ever.
It was just pouring out in my lap basically as I was flying away from this
Oh my
airport.
gosh.
Oh, as long as it wasn't too hot, right?
It was burning. It was burning. and I'm
Oh,
just thinking,
okay.
I'm
Now I
just
understand. It wasn't good cold coffee we're talking
No,
about. Hot
it
coffee.
cooled
Okay.
off fast, but it had me wondering if I was gonna, go down in the nearest field or what I was gonna do.
When you said
Oh.
coffee now, are we talking about Starbucks or home brewed?
Uh-huh.
This would have been whatever they had at the airport. It was strong, I know that.
Okay.
But I
because
wanted
if
it for my flight back because it took me an hour and a half to get there, but it took me less than an hour to get back because I had the
Yeah.
wind behind me.
it was a Starbucks, I'd be upset because $10
Yeah.
for a cup, right?
And when I was coming back, it was close to noon when I got back. So, clouds
Wow.
are popping, the sun's out. It was a bumpy ride, but I enjoyed the heck out of it.
So how's your
Yeah.
bump tolerance? Pretty
Any
good
other-
since you've been flying for such a
Yeah.
long time?
Yeah, I don't get too nervous with bumps. There have been a couple of times where I didn't know if I was going to make it back to the LZ just because I'm flying in. I knew there was a weather system, coming at me. I just thought, yeah, maybe it's going to move away, and I would still go up anyway. And it would move in and bump me around a little bit, but it wasn't anything that really bothered me too much.
So never got caught in any gust fronts or anything like that.
Yeah, I have, but
So apparently it was not as scary as coffee. So let's go ahead and hear about the gust front.
yeah, it's happened a few times. It's happened where we were out flying, and it actually one of our fly-ins just earlier this year, I think it was our spring fly-in, a few of us were up, and and a little gust front came in, and we were just kind of scrambling to get back to the field. And yeah, we all made it back okay, but it had picked up and got pretty strong on us.
You ever fly backwards because it was so strong by any chance?
Yes. Yeah. I have.
Yeah, me too. That's actually the fun part, right?
I actually, yeah, sometimes I enjoy that. I'll be up there and just kind of tug on the brakes and see how fast I can fly backwards sometimes. But
Have you done an SIV yet?
I have not, but I want to. I would really enjoy that because a few guys that I fly with, Drew Ward and Jordan Shealy, they do a lot of acro, and I really enjoy watching them more than I enjoy, attempting to do that stuff. I'll do, some wing overs and stuff like that, but the barrel rolls and things like that, I like to watch more than I like to do.
I don't know.
But they put on a good show around here.
Going backwards slow isn't that bad, but I wouldn't want to go backwards fast. That would totally freak me out.
Well, the backwards is really up high, a lot higher than 1,500 feet, Scuba Steve. So
with a steady wind, I mean,
yeah, with a steady wind up high, you go backwards, but as you drop down, you start going forward again. So it's not really scary because you can go forward.
There have been plenty of times that we've decided to fly around here, and it got a little crazy. Where we do like one lap around the LZ, and we're like, okay, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Wow. So you're really bad. What is your really bad as far as like wind and gust? And does that really make a difference? Because I know that sometimes we take off and it's like really beautiful down below, and then you go up and the winds aloft are like a washing machine. So how about where you are in Indiana?
Yeah, a lot of times when it's, unless there's a nearby, front or system in the area, the winds are usually pretty steady. But they get strong. And there have been times where I'd have my wife drop me off at an airport, on the west side of Fort Wayne, and the wind was, rushing to the west. So I'd jump in the air and I'd fly over to Columbia City, the other airport, and just fly downwind. I'd just do a downwind flight. I'd hardly use any gas, but it would get me in the air, and I'd just make a flight, over there, and she'd meet me and pick me up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Any questions in the super chat or any questions on the panel before we move on?
Can't think of right in a second.
Well, I think it's really neat with the difference between, flying the PPC and the PPG. Obviously, with the PPC, you fly with your feet, and the PPG, you fly steering with your hands. So how was the transition? Because did you say that you kind of learned by yourself? You didn't have formal training for the PPG, is that correct?
Yeah, I started doing that stuff by myself. I think, the hardest thing for me was trying to determine what hand I wanted the throttle in, because I actually thought maybe having a right hand throttle would be better, but I just I had talked to Blackhawk when I ordered my gear. He said, "Nah, you don't want it in your dominant hand." I'm like, okay. So I learned with left hand throttle, and I still see some people using right hand throttle, but that was probably the hardest part for me, was that coordination, controlling the throttle and steering at the same time. I found that to be a struggle when I was teaching myself.
That's weird because I throw with my left hand, but throttle with my right hand.
Yeah,
I can't, and see, that's why my watch is on my right arm.
but you're right-handed.
Well, I mean, I throw with my left hand, I bowl with my left hand, I write with my right hand.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of a mixture. But if I put the throttle on the left hand, it just doesn't feel right. So I moved it to the right side.
That was a question I actually asked Mike Robinson at Blackhawk when I started doing this, and he said, yeah, you want it in your left hand. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do that, And it didn't really take that long for me to figure it out, but it was hard at first. You know, the coordination between controlling the wing and operating the throttle. Yeah, it took a little trial and error for me.
That's a very interesting thing that you say. And if you guys could keep an eye in the super chat, because I'm going to ask a question for everybody in the super chat. What hand do you use your throttle? Is it right hand, left hand? And what hand are you dominant? Like if I'm right hand, I like to use right hand throttles. However, I use left hand also because of all the different machines we have. So you guys that are listening, what hand do you use for your throttle? And are you right-handed or left-handed? I'd really like to know. And who wants to keep a tally on that? Kevin, Butch?
You know, we could just do a poll.
Okay. Yeah, we can do a poll. We do have a poll here. Where is that? Poll. Poll and quizzes. There they are.
There you go.
All right. So poll and quizzes. Let's go ahead and do that. I've never done this before, so let's go ahead and see how to do this.
Yeah, it'll give you like a yes or no. You can edit that and change it to left or right, and then
Yeah, Robert does that on his shows a lot. He does the polls, throws that in there.
All right.
That's fun.
While I do this, you guys continue on. I don't want to just stop the show because I'm typing.
So Joe, you're right-handed then, right? So you write
am.
with your right hand and you use the throttle on the left hand.
I do. And I don't know if it would have been easier. I've never tried right hand.
It was for me, I mean, it's like, okay, which hand would I rather fire a gun with? Because you're going to be pulling the throttle, depending on what kind of throttle you got. But whichever hand felt more comfortable doing that, that's why I wanted to use my right hand. It doesn't feel natural in my left hand for some reason, even though this is probably my more dominant hand. It's stronger, but I think I get more fine-tuned control in my right hand. That makes
I probably, I think I probably would too, but I just never tried it. So I guess I'll
put the poll in Zoom, Sean. I appreciate that, but
What?
that doesn't help.
Is this a Zoom one?
Yes. You got to do it on YouTube. There's a way to do it on YouTube over there.
Wow.
I'm like, where'd I go?
I don't know that one.
Who's pole dancing?
I don't know if it'll let me do it. No, it only lets the host do it. I think it's the 3 dots and it'll say start poll or something like that.
3 dots, start poll.
Yep.
Does anybody, well, let's see, let me go up to 3 dots. Pop out chat, timestamp, moderation, participants.
No
so
poll.
Kyle in the chat, you started right and then switched to left. Are you happy with left-hand throttle now?
I can't see it, how to do that. But oh well, in the super chat, just type in left or right.
Yeah. Right hand, I can use left hand throttle. Yeah, I could do left. It just doesn't feel as comfortable in my left hand.
Have you tried it?
Yes. It doesn't feel right. I mean, I got no problem doing it that way. It's just I much rather have it in my right hand. I don't know.
It would probably totally mess me up now if I switched hands.
Well, since like I was saying, I throw with my left hand. So if I have to throw a reserve, I want this hand free.
Yeah.
I want to be, I throw with this hand, so I'll be able to throw my reserve. I don't want my dominant hand that I throw with trapped up in the throttle. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's the other thing. The other thing, reserves. I would rather have a lap mount reserve than take away one of my pockets on my harness.
Yeah, I would much rather have lap.
If you're gonna mount it to your harness, you don't want it on your throttle hand, right?
Right.
I'm with you.
Have to throw that throttle out and then get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I like the front mount reserve. And I like the steerable reserve. There's a question for you guys. Steerable or round? I like to be able to steer and a little bit of a flare when you come down. Stay away from the trees.
And I've never deployed a reserve, so I'm really not sure which one I would like.
Well, that's a good thing that you haven't done that so far.
Yeah. Have you?
Only in the SIV course.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. If I would like to do an SIV,
Yeah.
And if anybody's got, a preferred SIV,
Oh yeah, Sean knows a good SIV guy.
I would
Yep.
like to do that. That would be great. And I would also like to throw a reserve. But I
Yeah.
don't really want to skydive.
Andrew Fuller does one over in Florida, and I did his a couple times. The throwing the reserve, I think, is really important, so you know how to throw. And secondly, you know what it feels like coming down. You come down at about 5.5 meters a second, which is what, 12 to 14 feet a second. So
That's fast.
how tall is your house? So jump off of that with the paramotor. That's kind of what it feels like. So a reserve is not getting out of jail free. It's I'm not going to die, but I might have a broken ankle.
Yeah.
So there's also the steerable. So now you got the steerable, about $500 more than the round or the square, and now you have the opportunity to be able to, bring in your stall ball, tuck it underneath, reach up and grab your toggles, and now you're able to steer. And there's a
And
little bit of a flare, a little bit of a flare too. So you come down and you don't destroy your machine and your ankles. So
Yeah. How much flare do they actually have? Is it enough
I
to
don't
land
know.
normal?
Yeah.
Haven't gone down on one of those, but you know what? I need to repack. So maybe I could take that out to SIV and throw a steerable. So
And then also, if you read the manual on the reserves, it says not for free fall.
oh no, you definitely don't want to do that skydiving. No, for sure.
Yeah, but so your wing should not be completely unflyable when you deploy.
Yeah, so in the SIV, you usually collapse the wing and then you throw. So you just grab your A's, collapse it, do a frontal, throw the wing or throw the reserve. Once you throw the reserve, now you got your main wing is a big old stall ball. It just floats in front of you. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
But there's still some drag there. So you're not, it's not considered a free fall or something that would damage a reserve, I guess.
Right. And front mount too. So you're gonna
Yeah.
feel it on your harness. So
Joe,
interesting.
what's the coldest temperature you fly in? Do you fly in the winter?
I do.
You do.
We do fly in the winter here. I wouldn't say it's like a large group of us. Drew and I fly in the winter. Jason sometimes flies with us. There's not a big group of us. I know Bart packs his stuff up. He hibernates. He doesn't want any part of it. But we do, and they're not long flights by any means, but maybe a half an hour. And the coldest, I really don't. I have found my limit at 0 or slightly below 0, where I don't even care to fly. But and then there's another guy that will go up and he'll fly for a half an hour, but I don't fly when it gets below 0, really. I mean, I want it to be 10 or 20 degrees, and there's a difference when it's that cold. I mean, you can feel it.
There is. Do you have any like heated gloves or heated?
I do, yeah.
undergarments?
So I have heated gloves, and last year I was playing around with some hand covers that I would put over the toggles, and they would slide over my hands. So I could actually use like a thin work glove. And once I get in the air, these things would slide over and really keep the wind off your hands, which was really nice. But I have not tried that on the wings I'm flying now, where they have the 2D, because I think it would be a little bit harder to attach them if I'm not flying just a standard wing with brakes only.
Interesting. On the panel real quick, what's the lowest temperature that you would fly on or fly in? And real quick in the super chat, let us know the coldest temperature you would fly, but also what's the coldest temperature you have flown and won't do it again. I've flown in 27 degree Fahrenheit, which is below 0 Celsius. Don't like to do that, but like Joe said, as long as it's above freezing, it's doable with electric gloves and the right undergarments. There's also sometimes a nice inversion layer that's a little bit warmer, a couple 100 feet up. So What do you guys like to fly on the
I
Paramotor?
prefer above 50, but if it gets below that, I mean, I would still consider it. It depends on how much extra padding I have to put on to actually go fly. If I'm flying a trike, I'll probably go down to 0, no problem, because I could just bundle up and take off. But if I have to foot launch, yeah, I don't want it to be that cold, because then I'd look like an Eskimo trying to walk and get the wing. There's no way.
Yeah, mobility becomes a thing like foot launch. You got to be able to move. But I also like, I mean, my heated gloves are very thick, which also I don't really like, but I'll fly them, you know, as long as I've got my hands through the toggles and my throttle's in my hand, I'm fine, but I prefer a thinner glove. But, you know, they actually get really hot. I usually end up turning them down when I'm flying in the winter.
What footwear do you guys wear and when it's cold? There's somebody that was just on Facebook today who, I don't know if he was wearing the wrong kind of boots or something, but
Sean introduced me to the smart wool socks, and man, those things are amazing.
I do need to get some better socks. I have some insulated waterproof boots, which that's nice if you go down in some wet grass or something. But as far as keeping my feet warm, I probably need to get some different socks, I think.
Smart wool socks, dude. I promise you.
Yeah, smart
They
wool
have
is
my
amazing.
tootsies toasty.
Yeah,
But then
I
do you
don't
have to
know.
get a bigger boot because they're so thick?
They're really not
Maybe.
that much thicker than
It's not
regular
that bad.
socks. No. But we were talking about buying thicker or one size bigger boots to get like the electric socks and the electric insole.
So, yeah.
So that's something too, but I don't know. So far, the smart wool with the tactical boots that I have that are windproof and it seemed to be okay. And then fleece lined jeans with the running, I don't know what they call the running cold weather
It's like
gear.
spandex.
Yeah, they're like spandex. The
The
ones
cold
that,
gear, like the Under Armour, that's what I
yeah,
wear.
yeah.
That's
like
what
that.
it is. Yeah, the
Yeah.
And that stuff's
Under
warm.
Armour.
It's surprising how warm it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's
Hey,
normal for
before
me to wear that, and then I'll have like sweats and then some windbreaker pants over, like in the
That's
fall.
amazing. The windbreakers, just the light
Windbreakers are
windbreaker up
phenomenal.
front and the pants, it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
When you fly. Absolutely.
And then in winter, I just have, they're just some Tractor Supply hiking boots, but I have the rubber cleats that I snap over the bottom of my boots. That you can buy on Amazon for like $20.
And what are they?
They're just like little coils.
What are they called? What are they?
They're like a cleat, a rubber cleat.
Rubber cleat that goes over your boots for what?
Yeah, for traction.
Oh, okay. I haven't had any problems because we don't get that.
Yeah, you don't.
We don't have.
You don't have to worry about it down
No.
No, but then I'll come in and I'll foot drag and one will go flying off. So
Oh no. Oh no. Long as
I have to remember, that I'm wearing
through the prop, not through the prop.
And get some ice skates and take off.
Yeah. Need to
oh,
do
good Lord. Oh my gosh.
Do it.
Yeah.
That would be the way I would break a prop. I'd get on skis and then the wing would come up and it'd pull me backwards.
There you go.
That's crazy.
But I would like to try that.
In the super chat, real quick, can we see the left and right? Who does more? I guess Butch, did you do the left and right to check those out? And also, what was the range of who would go up and fly as far as in cold weather?
A lot of them are left-handed throttles and right hand dominate, but there's a few that's right hands all the ways, both hands.
Okay, so nothing in particular, but more people with left-handed. Does it seem like?
Yeah, it seems like more people are left-handed, but they're right-hand dominant, so they can throw the reserve is what the consensus seems to be.
Okay, very interesting. Like I said, that's why I like to have the front mount reserve.
Which makes sense. I don't think I'd want to throw a reserve with my left hand.
Yeah. Well, and also too with the front mount, you can take that to any machine that you fly. So if you go to a fly-in and you want to fly somebody's machine, or they got maybe Kangooks out there and say, hey, you want to fly my machine? Well, all you got to do is put on your own steerable because you know it and you feel comfortable with it, and you go fly their machine, check it out. And then you have to buy a Kangook, machine because Kangook is awesome.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. How about as far as the temperature? Anybody see the temperatures? Have they said anything?
Jay Bird had -7 degrees.
That's the coldest, but not the
Yeah.
average.
No, I don't see any averages.
What are the ranges? Do you see as far as what they said in the super chat?
It didn't really say. He's the only
No.
one that posted. Well, Craig said nothing under 10 degrees Celsius, which that's pretty warm, I do believe. 10 is cool, but not cold, I think. Hey, Ziggy, what's 10 Celsius in Fahrenheit?
10 degrees Celsius is 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
And that's what you fly. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Okay.
think a year or two ago we had a time where it was like -20, wind chill. And two of us went out to fly, and I'm gonna call him out. It was Shane Brock, and I think he stayed up for half an hour, and I lasted like 5 minutes. So he must have been dressed a lot warmer than me, but
I don't even think
he
it's
holds the record around here, I
the
think.
temperature that much. It's more about, am I going to have fun flying at this temperature? If it's that cold, it's not fun, and you're going to want to land. That's the way I feel about it.
If you have like some sort of like a snowsuit on or a flight suit that keeps you toasty warm, and you go fly, what's the coldest you're going to get? And we just got a full face helmet, and we have the fleece line thick neck gaiter. Let me tell you, fleece line neck gaiter, if you don't have one, get one, because just on a chilly day you put that on, you feel toasty warm. It's amazing. Smart wool socks, incredible. They are so warm compared to any other sock I've ever had. The closest one was Redhead from Bass Pro Shop. They do pretty good with their redheads.
Kangook's got the nice little flight suits I would like to check out. I need to get me one of them.
Yeah.
Suits.
I wonder if Bryant's posted the other shirts yet that he said he was going to post about 2 months ago. Oh.
Yeah.
Bill H said 40 degrees is the lowest he's flown.
Yeah, I think mine was 21-ish, right around there. It was cold. Matter of fact, that was one of my students, their first day was at 21 degree, 21, 27. I can't remember. It was cold.
Oh,
It was
really?
just
Yeah.
bitter cold. But when you want to fly, it's like, who cares about what the temperature is? I think my
Until you
first
get
flight
up
was
there, then
cold
you
too.
think about it.
I know,
What
right?
was it the other day when we went and you were behind me?
It was
40 something.
when we're flying. That
Yeah.
was either in the high 30s or low 40s. I can't remember.
Right.
But with those heated gloves, man, I had to turn them down, which was pretty amazing. I like that. And just like Joe said too, get yourself some windbreakers. If
Oh,
the
yeah.
wind doesn't go through and take all the heat out, you can wear some pretty thin stuff and still be nice and toasty warm. I'd like to get one of those heated chest ones. You know what I mean?
Just a vest.
Yeah, just the vest with the windbreaker and cold weather running gear, and see how that works.
Yeah, my arms and legs aren't that bad. It's the face and the hands and that stuff. And the hands are obviously the worst just because they're up there in the wind.
Do you fly with your hands, or do you put them on the toggles? Because I put them on my toggles and I keep them warm right down here when I fly.
It just depends on what conditions I'm flying in. If I need to be on the controls or not.
Gotcha.
But no, definitely yeah, I definitely, store them and put my hands in my lap as much as possible when I'm flying.
Yes, for sure. I've flown with mittens and the heated things that you break apart and rub or whatever those things are, the
All the
little
hand
warmers.
warmers.
Stick
And
'em
I've
in
put
there.
them in mittens, and I've flown in mittens, and I've had no problems. I fly in thick gloves, no problems. And I know there's a lot of pilots out there that don't want to fly or take off with gloves on their hands because they need to feel the toggles.
I don't have to feel them. I just have to know that everything's positioned right for takeoff. That's
Mhm.
my only prerequisite for that.
And we're
Once
almost
I'm in
at
the air, it just doesn't matter.
exactly. It's almost 8 o'clock. So real quick, another question. Do you guys fly with gloves, heated gloves, anything like that? When you take off, do you take off with nothing on your hands and then you put them on once you get up, or do you take off with some sort of gloves, heated gloves during the wintertime if you fly?
I always keep these
Yes.
right here behind me, the Sabbath Heat battery
Yes.
gloves.
Yeah.
That's
They're still
what I
brand new
use.
because I haven't had to use them yet.
Those are what I use.
That's what
And
I use.
when I'm up there in cold weather and I have to turn them down because my hands are too hot, I'm a happy flyer.
What's so amazing to me about those gloves is they heat up like that fast. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of seconds, and you're like, whoa, that's hot. It's fast. They're
Mhm.
really good gloves.
Yeah,
Yep.
I end up turning them down a notch or two once I'm flying.
Yeah.
But I do have like one fingertip that always gets cold.
Really?
Huh.
Know if it's just the glove, that finger didn't get sewn properly or insulated properly. But
Interesting. Well, I'm
Are
waiting
we
for the
doing thumbnail? We
yeah,
do a
let's go ahead and
thumbnail?
let's go ahead and do a thumbnail. It'll have to be me that does it. I have to remember how to do it.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's Shift Command 3. So let's try that and we'll see if it works. On the count of,
Okay.
hold on 1 second. Let me move that participants out of the way and do that so it's full screen. And 1, 2, 3, cheese. That was it. I'm smart.
I missed it.
Cool.
I was typing.
Scuba was late to the party.
Oh.
I was so late.
I'm looking at it. It's like, yeah, Scuba's like, I'm not looking at that. All right, you want to do it one more time? One more
Yeah,
time.
sure.
All right.
Gotta do a retake.
Shift
Okay.
Command 3 on a count of 3. 1, 2, cheese. Ka-chink. All right.
All right, that's better.
See what that looks like.
I was
much better,
typing to
much
Bryant. I was oh what? Click.
Much,
You're like me last
better.
week. Like, no, wait, take my glasses off. Bye.
Much better. There we go.
Ooh,
yeah, there you go.
Wayne.
We're a happy camper.
Look at us, all happy campers.
We are happy campers. That's really awesome.
Even in May, when I went fly, even this past summer when I'm on the tandem, I had a jacket on and I still wore gloves because it got chilly up there. I think it was even colder the year before when I went on my first tandem. It was pretty cold. So yeah, made sure have my little gloves on.
Look
Joe,
at
you're only like what,
15
4.5 hours
subscribers. Look
away.
at that.
15 now.
yeah,
15.
4 or 5 hours, I think.
Do you fly airplanes too?
Just radio control.
Just radio control?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't even have that video up there, should I? It's probably breaking the rules. Or something.
Well, I mean, you're at least 2,000 feet above the
I
cloud.
found a hole.
You can see down to the ground, so it's legal, right.
Yeah.
But
Those are the epic flights right there.
they are the epic flights. Absolutely.
It's fantastic. We had one day like that at Walter up in Saranac when I was up there. And Mike Cotter had taken off and he was up there. You couldn't even see him. He was up there messing around above the clouds, and then he came back down, and then a bunch of us went up, and it was just
You'll see all those guys at Torch. They're always there every year. So it's super fun. Well, every time I go, I meet more new people, Paramotor, and it's cool. You see them on all the shows and everything. And then when you finally get to meet them in person, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. Have you met Robert in person, Joe?
No.
At in San Diego? At
Mm-mm.
the
Oh,
Torrey Pine.
Torrey? Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Flew there quite a few times. He kind of does that, or he does Little Black. Talks about, I always say it wrong. Is it Little Black? It's something like that. Anyway, I always get it wrong. So I'm going to stop here because he'll be like, no, Mom, that's not what it is. That's not what it is.
I would like to
Anyway.
do more paragliding. That would be fun.
It's not about me. It's about you, Joe.
Yeah, so you have not paraglided? You haven't gone and done the free flight yet?
I have
Or
not
have
done
you?
a lot, no. Other than shutting my motor off and flying around,
That
But-
is the best. I mean, I love going up and at thousands of feet, cutting the motor and then just all the way down to
I really enjoy that. I really enjoy going up high and then shutting the motor off and just floating around as long as I can before I have to land.
Butch has been practicing it too. He just shuts his motor off. Never mind. Sometimes he don't even try to shut his motor off.
Make me look at trees in a different way now.
Yeah.
It's
Hey, he's
true.
good at holding on to that damn tree though.
Yeah, definitely. I have a
He
lot
ain't
more
going nowhere.
respect for those trees that I'm buzzing over now.
Yeah, and it's amazing too how many people have said things like I used to buzz over trees very low, but since that video they don't do it anymore. So it's very possible, Butch has helped a lot of people get away from situations that they possibly could have got into in the future. I mean, you never know when your motor's going to go out, so why take that chance buzzing the
Is it-
treetops?
Same thing like flying close to trucks.
Hey, there you go. I'm guilty of that. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, I thought I was going to run into my own damn
Oh.
truck. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. So
Yeah, just earlier this year, my motor had started acting up just a little bit, but I was cruising around at 200 feet, trims out, on the snake, downwind, and all of a sudden it just shut off. And I'm like, okay,
wow.
trims in, I'm landing right there in a straw.
Oh, how high were you?
I was only 150 to 200 feet in the air.
Oh, that's still high enough to throw your trims and
Yeah. Yeah, because as soon as you do that, you kind of come up a little bit and then you're like, okay, I'm landing right there.
Were you able to turn around and land into the wind, or did you land
Yes.
with the wind?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it worked out. But yeah, it's like, oh, you got to be careful sometimes. You never know when that motor is just going to go out on you.
Yep. I know when I'm flying too, it's like I get to the point where it's like, okay, I can land everywhere, and it's like, okay, do I take this risk versus reward where I know I will not make it anywhere, or do I not? So I know that that's that. All right, if I do this and I land in a tree or water or something, it was my own fault because I wanted that cool shot. I wanted that look at wherever that is. But yeah.
So Joe,
Very
you
few
don't
and far
fly a
between do
trike.
I do that.
You don't fly a trike then, Joe?
I prefer not to.
You prefer not to.
Yeah, I really love foot launch, and I'll do it
Okay.
as long as I can. But
Gotcha.
that's,
I
Well,
was just
you're under
wondering.
50. You're so young, dude.
you're
My gosh. I mean, you got
Yeah.
years in front of you.
you're all youngsters on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, young bucks you are.
you just never know. I mean, it's a good idea also just to kind of walk your takeoff path and make sure there's not a hole you're going to step in or something.
Oh yeah.
Because I've rolled my ankle several times, and luckily it wasn't bad enough that I couldn't fly the next day, but
Always walk your runway. That is something you always have to do. Walk your runway. Always,
Yeah.
always, always.
You rolled your
Interesting.
ankle and still didn't break a prop. Man, you got lucky. I swear.
Well,
but that's what I do. I'll either go forward or I'll spin around and go down on my knees. I have a fear of breaking a prop. I always have. So I don't go that way.
Well, 31 years of not flying and not breaking a prop.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I have replaced them just because they're worn out, but
wow. There you go.
Ah,
Replacing
knock on
props
wood.
because they wear out.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, if you're in the super chat still, have you ever replaced a prop just because it wore out?
because you were worried it was going to break.
I have not. That's pretty cool. So let me
He's like,
know
I'm changing it before it breaks.
that how,
Yeah, because you have
wearing
that
out a
spot
prop.
that the
How do
exhaust
you do
hits all the
that?
time, you know, and it starts to change color and it starts flaking a little bit. I've had e-props where I put so many hours on them that they start breaking down in a certain spot. I'm like, that thing's just gonna go one of these days.
How
They
many
kind of
hours do you
flimsy.
normally fly? I guess a year. What is your yearly flight hours? About ish.
I don't know. I mean, Gaggle probably I log most of my flights on Gaggle, so it's Gaggle's probably got 80% of my flights. And let's see.
That's interesting. Steve,
But I'm sometimes Henny's got me in the beta on Gaggle, so I get updates all the time, and sometimes it doesn't work right, but and I'm trying to get the watch version to work because that would be really cool. But
Got it.
what's that? You got the Watts version of Gaggle Butch?
Mm-hmm.
And it really and it works?
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it worked better, but
Right.
yeah. So hours this year right now, it says I'm at 68. I've had 128 flights this year, 6 flights this month, and it's been 8 days since I flew last.
I haven't tried Gaggle on my watch. It's on there. I just haven't tried it yet. Usually when you open Gaggle on your watch, it'll say, now open the app on your phone. It's like,
Right. Exactly.
okay. I was
Yeah.
trying
If
to
I'm
avoid
opening on my phone, I'm gonna use my phone.
that.
But yeah, I would say probably, 100 to 150 hours a year if I had to guess.
Really? And you
Huh.
wear out your props in 150 hours a year? Is it because
I-
you go through a lot of like sand or dirt or something like that?
No, I think the only reason I've really changed them to date is because of that spot where it gets hit by the exhaust going around,
Yeah.
and the carbon fiber starts to wear. I've had them actually get to the point where they're flaking, and at that point I just go ahead and swap them out.
What do you do with your the ones that you swap out? Do you make a ceiling fan or what do you do with those?
I have a couple where they're sitting in the garage. I haven't done anything with them, but it would be cool just to make like a really cool ceiling fan or some wall art or something.
There you go.
Just
Wall
hang them
art,
on the
right?
wall. Start a collection.
I think a
And
lot of
then
people
you
Now
always
I'm
have
running I'm using a
collection.
Vortex Aero prop, which I actually like. It's been
I like my Vortex Aero prop. It's like it's between a Helix and an E-prop. I mean, it spins up quick, it's super duper light, but it's thick like an E-prop, lots of thrust. And
yeah, I really like it. It sounds better too.
it does. It sounds like an airplane. Anybody out there that has the Vortex Aero prop, and do you like it? Because I think it sounds like a freaking airplane. Plus, it has different bolt patterns, so you can put
Got a
on
deeper sound to it.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. But it doesn't
There you go, Joe. This
it's not
makes you feel
breaking
better.
it's not breaking down as fast as the E-prop.
Yeah, mine just wore out. I don't know what. Maybe I should have changed it earlier.
Yeah, you flew that one too long.
Send that to Rick Simmons. He'll
If this
hook you
wasn't
right
a
up.
140, it wouldn't hit the ground.
you broke a 140?
Yeah, this is a 140 prop. This is my original prop. I'm on the second one now, or third.
Has
actually.
anybody fixed a prop that was that broken and continued to fly it?
100%.
Simmons.
Rick Simmons.
He
You can
does,
find
huh?
him on Facebook, Rick Simmons Prop Repair. And not only will he fix that, but he will puts what is
Balance.
it? What's that?
He balances it.
And
Put
makes it any
vinyl around it too.
Yeah, and vinyl wrap, whatever
Oh.
color that you want. Butch has a couple of those because it gets nicked or something. It's like, just send it in. He'll balance it, put different colors on it. He'll vinyl wrap it. It's better than prop tape,
It's better than a new one.
and it's much better.
Yeah, it smoothed
I
out
would
the
say.
engine.
Yeah, if you have a bumpy prop, you know, it feels like it's kind of off balance, just send it to him, and it's amazing what he'll do. It's like it's like a brand new one. Actually, it's better than a new one. I put a brand new one on my motor one time, and it was like really, I don't know, felt like there was a lot of vibration. So I sent it to Rick, and when I got it back, it was just absolutely amazing. I don't like the different colors. I like the black, just the black, and it was beautiful.
So are some props heavier than others then? Are they all different?
All
How do you
different.
know what size? I probably already asked this before, but we haven't talked about props too much. How do you know what what size prop to get for your paramotor
Usually
size?
it's your cage size that allows you up to a certain size, and then
Yeah,
you can go smaller if you want to. But usually, if your cage allows the 130 or 135, you do it. And then Scuba has the 140 prop because his is a factory R that allows a 140 prop, right, Scoob?
Yeah, and then there's also gear reduction. There's two different gear reductions that it changes everything too. So you got to make sure you get the right size prop and the right gear reduction. I can get a 135 prop, I can go up to 140, but I can go down to a smaller prop, but I got to keep the same gear reduction so that the prop don't spin at the wrong speed and just do nothing pretty much.
Oh,
So
okay.
you got so the prop has different pitches, right?
Mhm.
So depending on your gear reduction, you'll have a different pitch on your prop.
Oh.
So on his, you got a 2.87,
287. There you go.
and then on a regular Melster, it's 2.68, which is it's normal for
Kind of like a ceiling fan blade that you call the pitch thing, right?
very good.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what I think of because you know how you don't have a ceiling fan blade that's just flat, right? They all
Yeah,
have
wouldn't
some
push
kind of-
any air.
Yeah,
Just spin.
yeah.
Spins one way, pushes down the other way, it comes up for winter, blows or takes the hot air that's up there, pushes it up and brings it back down around your walls. Pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
you don't want to go too heavy or too light on those props then.
No, we have, well, there's wooden props, which are heavier.
Oh. Okay.
And the difference in price though, okay, so the reason why you have a wooden prop is if you, I guess, are in a place that there's lots of sandblast, right? So on the beach would be good.
Okay.
If you own a school and you have a lot of students, right? So that will take a lot more abuse. However, it's heavier. It spins up a little bit slower. Everybody
wood?
everybody likes the carbon fiber. It's a lot lighter, but it's not very forgiving. You hit something and it'll go. Exhaust, right, Joe? Exhaust will wear it down.
That's where I get all my wear.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's wear
okay.
and tear.
Arrow has a 140. How much?
What's that?
Is he talking about how much for the prop? The Vortex Arrow has 140. How much? I don't know if he's talking about the prop. The props are usually about $320. So
Prop size, yeah.
Just
the
for one?
125 that I got was
Yes.
the 125
one
that I got
prop?
was like 280.
yes, don't break a prop there, Paramount.
Oh my God.
They're not cheap.
$300 for one prop.
They go up a
Holy.
lot more than that. Like you get a 3-blade, you're talking about $700 to $800 for a 3 and 4 blade.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, I'm
Mm,
glad I don't buy ceiling fans that way. Jeez, Louise.
no
if I could
carbon
put a
fiber
ceiling fan on the back and it would work, I'd try it, but I no.
Dang right.
Probably could, but man, those things would go phew phew all over
It
the
would
place.
sling it would just bust into a million pieces right when you hit the gas the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
And
God.
Joe,
So you have
what size prop do you have?
Just a 125.
25. Okay.
I would like to mess around with that stuff a little bit though, see if I can go a little further distance.
so you only can use up to how many props? Like three props, 4 props, but it
You're talking
depends
about
on the size of the
um,
cage.
You're talking about how many blades or the size?
Yeah, the blades, yeah.
So I've seen, well, no, I guess normally you have a 2-blade, there's 3-blade and 4-blade. The 3-blade has a weird harmonic sometimes. It goes womp, 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 womp. So you go from 2 to 4 and you don't have that weird harmonics. But I've seen some, I don't know if they're real or not, that have a lot more than 4, but I don't know if they're real, if they're just photoshopped, but I've seen some out there on the internet. Have you guys seen anything more than four blades?
Yeah, I don't know if it's real either. I've seen some that just look like a whole bunch of spokes, and it's like,
Yeah,
is that real?
I know, right? It's like,
Does it make a difference in the speed then? The more props or blades you have on your
No.
cage or
That
whatever?
doesn't
Right.
see, that's the whole thing. It's not really going to change your speed in the air, depending on whether you have a 130 prop, 140. Your glider is going to go your glider speed. You're not going to be like, oh, I got a
Okay.
big badass motor, it's going to push me 20 miles an hour faster. No, that doesn't work
Make
that
the
way.
motor work harder and burn more fuel.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, the more blades you have, it makes the
You'll get lift faster, but it's not going to make you go forward faster. The only thing, like when the 140 prop, when I hit the gas, I take off like a rocket. Like where the Atom 80, it has a slower climb. But they both do the same thing. Just one's a little faster at climbing than the other, but not speed going forward wise. That's all in the wing.
yeah, Linda, and for those of you out there that don't know, on a paramotor, the throttle and the speed that you get of your motor is only altitude. That's all you get. You have to change your angle of attack on your wing to go faster. And of course, because we are ultralights under FAR 103, we can't go more than 55 knots, which is about 64 miles an hour. And if it does go faster than that, then you are outside the range of the FAR 103, which means that you're illegal flying something that fast. So you can only go so fast anyway.
So you got to be careful on those crazy downwind flights.
True.
Or Gaggle says I'm doing 70.
What? Wow. Yeah, you got to be careful with those downwind flights. Absolutely. Yeah, you got those trims out pushing speed bar with the wind. Yeah, you can catch some.
You can cruise.
You can cruise, absolutely. But still, we're talking about airspeed, Linda. Airspeed, we can only do 55 knots. Ground speed, however, if we're doing 50 miles an hour, right, airspeed, but we have a 50 mile an hour tailwind, we're doing 100 miles an hour ground speed, but our airspeed is still 50. So we can only do airspeed, but we can also see your ground tracking, which could be a lot faster. So when he said 70 miles an hour, that's our airspeed plus the tailwind. And that's your ground tracking or your ground speed.
It's always fun to see that ground whipping.
There's so much to learn. Oh my gosh. So airspeed, and see, I'm learning some tonight now. Again, airspeed and ground speed. What the difference?
All right, so here we go. Really easy to remember or understand on this little analogy. Imagine you're in a boat, right? And it's crystal clear, and your boat does 20 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
If we're going and the river's going 20 miles an hour.
Yes.
So if I'm going downstream 20 miles an hour, I look on the shore and I'm doing 40 miles an hour. If I turn the boat around, I'm going 0 miles an hour on the shore comparatively, but I'm still doing 20 miles an hour in the water. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
Don't tell me to repeat that, but yeah.
We've covered a lot tonight.
Yeah, we have, and it's 8:20 already. That's a lot more than an hour. We did talk about we're gonna try to do an hour, but we usually end up doing a little bit more than an hour. I don't know why. It's just so fun talking about paramotors and paramotor things.
If somebody keeps asking questions, I don't know who that is.
Well, I mean, it's good that we have you, Linda, because
thank you.
This podcast. Somebody could hear this podcast because it's not only this live show, but then we put it out there on audio. So we strip out the audio, put it out there under PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, ClearProp TV, and also paratalk.org, right? So you can find us everywhere on Amazon, on Spotify, any of your favorite podcasting apps, you'll find this show. So if somebody's listening to this show and they haven't flown, you asking these questions help us to bring it down to where people that are listening to this show can understand. I mean, just like you said, you didn't know what LZ was when you first started watching. Now you know
Right.
what LZ is.
Yeah,
It's your
that's
landing
right.
zone,
I
right?
remember, yeah, I would take notes because I was trying to learn all the lingo, and I didn't want to look silly, trying to ask like, what'd you say? What's that mean? So I
Right.
started really paying attention and writing things down. And now, sometimes I call Robert and have conversation with he's always like, wow, Mom, look at you. So
Okay, just like tonight. So tonight we
yeah.
talked about PPG and PPC. So you should know the difference. What's PPC?
Oh gosh. Powered Paramount is it powered
Powered parachute.
Shoot.
powered parachute
Right,
is
that's
There you go.
PPC. And then what's PPG?
and then PPG is powered parachute
Powered paraglider.
glider. Yes.
Right.
Glider, yes.
So Robert flies paragliders,
Yes.
right? So that's
Yes.
where you go off the mountain and you free fly, right? So if we add power to it, now we're powered paragliders. So a lot of people ask the question, well, what happens if your motor goes out? Well, instead of being a powered paraglider, we just become a regular paraglider.
Yeah. So you got
Sure.
PG.
Yeah.
PG is paragliding. PPG is powered paragliding. PPC powered parachute. Got it? All the P's. All the P's.
Yeah. That's why it gets confusing. It's like, yeah, and I know the terminology, free flight or learn all the things. Free flight or foot launch, and people ask foot launch. And that means you're running. That's the running across the field and
Just keep running.
jump in the seat kind of guy,
Run,
or
Forrest,
girl or
run.
whatever.
Run, Forrest, run.
I'm more of like, just set me down on the trike in that pretty little seat there, and yeah, see what? Yeah, just set me down on that trike and get me
Butch
all
got spoiled on the trike, let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm
harnessed in.
beat up, man.
Beat up
And,
for what?
and I'm ready to
Climbing?
go, man.
How are you beat up? Oh, from working.
Well, I got run over by a car, had a mobile home take, top of my truck off, had several motorcycle wrecks, 2 shared vertebrae, back's been broke a few times.
I can
So,
see where
yeah.
you get spoiled on the trike.
So
Right.
he likes the trike part, but he does foot launch. And Joe, you like the foot launch because you can always do your PPC if you wanted to. But why do that when you can foot launch?
Foot launch is great, and especially flying in and out of tight spaces. I really enjoy that.
I agree.
Why do they? Excuse me. I'm sorry. Why do they tell you not to sit down right away? When you what flying is that then? Like, well, Robert has that. What's it called that you put your feet inside it? I forgot the name of it now.
If you sit down too quick, basically, if you go to launch and you're foot launching and you sit down too quick, when you're running, your weight is on the ground. So your wing is going to start to lift you. But if you jump in your seat, then you're adding all that weight to the glider. You will come right back down into the ground.
Okay.
So if you jump in too quick, it's a high possibility that you will go right. Because I did it. I know.
So you got to get high, and how do you know when you know it's time to sit down?
It's safest
you're
just to leave your feet
10 feet or more in the air.
well off the ground.
Okay.
Exactly.
A lot of us are guilty of jumping in our seats too early, but yeah.
Yeah, leave your feet down, because after you eat a bunch of turkey and you're up to 250 pounds, this grandpa here trying to fly an Atom 80, you go up a little bit and you come down. You go up a little bit and you come down. You go up. So grandpa got to lose some weight so he can keep on flying his 80.
I think trikes they're so much fun. I think it's really, I'm telling you, it's really a rush. I feel like I'm sitting like in a go-kart when you first take off and you're going across the field and you're going so fast. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're up in the air. And it's just like, man.
Well, that trike you're riding on has got he probably has a Cosmo 300 on there. That thing's got a lot of power. So yeah, it'll scoot across the ground real fast.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
barely hitting the gas. That thing takes off.
Yeah. I know the last time when I flew this past summer, I started getting braver, and I'm like, let's do a touch and go. oh, let's do a flyby, so we did. And yeah, as we're flying by, I'm all yelling and screaming at everybody. "Ah!" So poor Eric. Yeah, he probably couldn't hear for the whole rest of the week, right? For me yelling in his ear the whole time. But
Yeah. Joe, when you fly your PPC, how fast do you go on the ground before you take off?
yeah, Joe.
Probably 25, 20.
Oh, that's all?
25. Yeah, max speed on those was 30 to 35.
Okay. So you got the big motor, but you still go slow on the ground and still slow
slow.
in the air.
It's very, very old style wing.
The power parachute takes a longer distance to take off, right, than it does on a paramotor.
Yeah, without the wind. I mean, if you've got a nice headwind, you can get off the ground pretty quick.
Okay.
But yeah, they don't move fast.
Oh, why did I think the power parachute and the paramotor were the same? See, now I'm going to have to research again because I see it on the paramotor page, everybody.
Well, you see the gliders that we have are really long. Why?
Yeah.
Usually power parachute looks like a little square.
Looks like a parachute,
They're
like a
much
skydiving
smaller.
parachute.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Skydiving
That's
parachute.
what you fly, Joe. You fly the powered parachute.
I
That's what
used
you
to. I'm just PPG now. I have
Okay.
been for quite some time. Yeah, I fly the paragliders, which are it's a night and day difference. I mean, you can glide around so nice on these new gliders in a long time.
Well,
I got a
what's
question real quick too. When
Yeah,
you're
go
flying
ahead.
your PPCs, was it N numbered or did you fly under 103 or did you have to get the sports pilot license?
No, it was not. They didn't have any of those requirements then. And for the single place, there were no N numbers or sport license requirements when I
No
was
matter what the weight was, right? Interesting.
that was added later.
The good old days. Kevin, you went and tried to power taxi with a trike, a big heavy trike. It's a trike that we can use for PPG or PPC because we got the foot pedals too for the wing. Kevin tried to do the kiting. Tell us about that real quick.
It's a lot different than foot launch. It's interesting. That little trike will scoot pretty fast across the ground until you hit a big pothole. Well, I don't even think it's a pothole, gopher hole or something. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I want to do some more of it, but I want to get a little more proficient in the foot launch first. So
yeah, so he did really well keeping that wing above his head first time on the cart. So that was pretty cool. So paramotor props to you, buddy.
thank you.
Awesome.
Well, it is 8:30. Do you want to continue or are we ready to wrap it up and head on back in where it's nice and warm and go to bed?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking because I'm still trying to wear off some of this Thanksgiving belly I just acquired. Oh my
Yeah, I can't believe how much I gained over the last couple months, man. It always starts with Halloween and then it just keeps on going all the way to
Uh-huh.
There you go. And now we're
Yeah,
past.
you got a ton of
Thanksgiving, so now I
food
gotta
at your
drop it
house.
again.
And we got a deer too. Oh deer. So we got lots of deer roast. Actually, we got a deer roast that we need to go eat.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
really? You
Mhm.
went when'd you go hunting?
Oh, I don't go hunting. I get the spoils of hunters that give me the meat.
Oh,
Uh,
I thought you
honestly,
were gonna say we found one on the road while we was coming home. And just
We
brought
spotted it while we were flying, came down and foot dragged it, grabbed it.
I'm like,
brought it
how'd
with
you
us.
do that?
I found a deer. Butch comes home with a quad. Look at this.
Yeah. Grab a
Drag-
sawzall, buddy.
Venison meat is so good.
Absolutely. Kevin, come on over, buddy. We got some deer meat in the
If I could make the 3-hour drive, I would.
All right.
Hey, you only got like a week or so, and then you'll be out there again and hopefully back up in the air because I know you need that fix, man. You got to have that fix again.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, every morning and night, we went up. I went up to check it because it was beautiful down on the ground, and it's so deceiving when you go up and winds aloft, and it's like a washing machine. I take off, I get up there, all of a sudden there's lift and there's sink, it's moving me left and right. My wings doing all this,
Wow.
and they're like, I don't want to go up, and I'm like, this is so cool. It's amusement park for free. Man, my bump tolerance is way up there, and that just is fun to me. It's just fun bumping all around. It's like, look at that wings, there it is. Whoa, where'd it go? It's over there. There it is.
I'm
but,
not sure why I enjoy that so much, but I do.
I do too, man. It's so fun. Well, you know,
No, I
it's
don't.
one of those things that you feel secure in your machine. Just like you said, Joe, you used to go all the way up on towers, big towers, to change off the light bulbs, right? You will not catch me doing that. You won't catch me on the house or ladder or tree. Right, Butch? Nope, I don't do that. I don't.
Nope.
But I will fly up there and fly around you while you're doing it without
Yeah.
feeling any problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, me, I am afraid of heights, but I will fly up, you know, and not feel anything in a paramotor because you feel so secure.
Yep. Makes it easy to do midday flying and late morning and stuff.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I don't like waiting till there's no wind. I like a little bit of wind.
You and me both, absolutely. So build up that bump tolerance and get up there and bounce around and have fun. It's like going to Six Flags for free.
There
It is,
you go.
especially when
There
you're
you
doing wingovers.
How good are you at wingovers? How much wingovers do you do? Can you see your shadow on the wing yet?
I have, yeah.
Wow, that's some good wingovers then.
Wow, you are a daredevil.
Yep, when you look up at your wing and you see the trees and your shadow, and you look down and you see the
Yeah.
sun, that's a great wingover.
You'll have no problem doing the SIV, Joe. It'll be a piece of cake for you. You'll be like,
I do
oh, I
want to
got
experience
this.
that though. It'd be fun. I would like that.
every
Everyone's
time-
got to try it. Just not me personally, but everyone's got to try it just once, you know.
It,
Yeah,
it is
I want to
it's
throw a reserve over water too.
it really is amazing. Plus, you know, you can you know, go a little bit further than what you feel comfortable with your motor and, you know, being over land, because you know that if you mess up, you just throw reserve, float down into some nice soft water with gators. It's great, you know. It's no
With
big deal.
gators.
Gators will help you out. They'll cut
Yeah.
the line for you.
Give you a ride back to shore.
I just want to go so I can say I went and done it. You know, and there's a lot that I want to do and learn on it.
Yeah.
You will. Look at you now, man. Super fly. You're like super butch fly now. Not butch fly, but super butch fly. That's right.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay. As long as you're not hugging trees, we're all good. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, being a tree hugger is a good thing sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to fly a trike into a tree. I'd rather be foot.
No.
No, let's
No.
not do that.
No.
I'd
No.
much rather have my legs and feet ready to hug that tree.
Right. I don't want to be like that other guy that did it in North Carolina and not even bother to grab anything. He just went straight down. I was reaching out, grabbing everything that went by.
Hoping that wing is going to snag and leave you hanging before you hit the ground. Yeah.
Were you like yelling like Tarzan when you were going through the trees? So
No.
No, it was more
As soon as I
S words and
turned,
other
I
things.
cussing.
You had to cut out a
Oh.
lot of stuff to be able to put that on the internet.
Yeah. As soon as
All
I
tho- all
turned,
those-
I
all those
realized
blank-
it, and I
all-
started cussing.
Yeah, all that all the part of the video where there's no noise, we just
Muted
I
it.
think that's what happened with the guy. You know, Butch is just, you know, Butch, and then you got the wing. So his wing got caught and he was able to grab the tree. The guy that was on the trike, you got to think his wing caught the canopy, but all the weight of that trike pulled down and it snatched the wing off. Then he went on down and hit the ground in that trike.
Mm,
That's painful. So
mhm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to hit the tree with a trike for
No.
sure.
No,
No.
altitude is your friend, really, you know, just especially with a trike or a quad, get up there and stay your 1,000 feet. You can see everything. You got plenty of room to come down if you got a motor out. I mean, 1,000 feet is great. You're not making any noise for neighbors. The people looking up, they can still see and hear you, but not that much. I mean, it's a great altitude, about 1,000 feet. Plus, if you need to, you've got plenty of room to throw a reserve, which I still to this day I haven't thrown a reserve under emergency. So, thank goodness. Knock on everything.
Right. Those wings nowadays, they want to fly. They don't want to collapse. I mean, they want to fly. You just about have to, I mean, you have to do something catastrophic just about to make them collapse.
When you go to your SIV clinic for the first time and you try to pull your A's down or B's or whatever, it's like there's so much. Even just doing big ears, it's a lot to pull in your wing, and then you got to hold on to it tight, because as soon as you let it go, whew, it wants to go and fly. So
Wow.
it's when you see people throwing reserves or getting things all twisted up, they're usually really advanced pilots on advanced wings, and they're going up on purpose to do acro. Just us going up and flying around, doing a little S turned, or maybe a little tiny wing overs or something like that. The chances of anything happening to that is not much. But it's just like anything. You start off with a bike with training wheels, you go nice and slow, and then you start hopping curbs, and there's like, let's build some ramps and let's go ahead and be Evel Knievel type of thing. So it just depends on how far you go, and once you get the bug, you're probably going to get the bug and go and do acro eventually. That's just the normal progression, I think.
It is. Once you start building energy on that wing, you want to dive and do wing overs, and then it starts feeling like a roller coaster, and like, oh wow, this is really
Nope,
fun.
I'm avoiding that bug. Nope.
You will eventually.
I don't want that.
I don't
You
want
will
that
eventually.
bug. Don't want it.
The only part of that bug that is not the best is that you will stretch lines, right? So your glider that you could have for 3, 4, 5, 600 hours, you're going to be replacing lines at 1, 2, and 300 hours, because you just stretch the heck out of the lines to an acro. So if you guys ever go out and try to find wings, used wings on Marketplace, whatever, and the pilot is a really good skilled acro pilot, even though the canopy is nice and crispy, you could have some stretched lines. So that's something to think about too, is who are you buying the wing from? Are they an acro pilot, or are they just a fly nice and steady pilot? Because those hours will make a huge difference. 100 hours of acro is a lot different than 100 hours of taking off, flying around the LZ, and coming in for a landing. So,
See, I learned something again. I never thought of that.
yep, definitely think about that. Absolutely.
This was so fun. This is really
always enjoy Monday night podcast. And Joe, thank you so much for joining us and
Joe.
telling
Thanks
us
for
about
having me. It was a lot of fun.
PPC and the PPG, the difference. But just your all the stuff that you do is amazing, especially being out there and flying for 31 years, and all the RC. I think that we all have done RC. I mean, I still got my quad. Butch still has his quad, and after flying, they get dusty, very, very dusty.
This time of year, they get a lot of use.
Yeah.
They might have to get a little bit of use now, because I
break
just
my quad out. Where's it at? It's around here somewhere.
All right.
Thanks,
Any other
guys. It was a
questions
lot of
in
fun.
the super chat? Any other questions on the panel before we say goodbye to Joe?
No, sir.
All right, Joe, thank you so much for joining us. All of Joe's information is down in the description below. Make sure you go over to his YouTube channel and click subscribe, because he went from 1 subscriber to 15. So if you're listening to this past today, which is November 27th of 2023, and you click that link, I don't even know how many hundreds of millions of people have clicked subscribe, but make sure that you are one of them. Joe, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
everyone.
Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Nice talking to you.
Absolutely. Well, have a good one, buddy. You're more than welcome to jump on and be part of the panel anytime, every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you join us here live. Be there or be square.
Yeah, make sure you make it out to Torchport in May. You can meet
Absolutely.
Eric and Jade
Yeah.
Lear with Northern Lights Paramotors LLC. And they're super duper people. They got me up in the air safely and all that good stuff. So I would totally recommend anybody to go see them if they want to. They want to get up in the air, if they want to learn anything or whatever about flying. So
And
anyway.
don't forget about April 8th next year, where we have that totality that's going to be going across the United States. If you don't fly yet, make sure you learn to fly, because that's going to be a really cool day to be taking off and then flying. And then all of a sudden there's a
Oh,
totality. Ooh, that's going to be so cool.
that's right. Forgot about
And
that.
Fly It for Gauge is in March. That comes
Yep.
up
Forget
before
March.
that.
Do you know what day that is? March what?
It's March 20 something. I don't know the exact date.
Okay.
21st to 24th, I'm guessing. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which-
I gotta look at the calendar, PPG calendar.
Mhm.
Eric puts out there every every year. So
Yeah.
when you get to on the PPG calendar and you get to where Torch is, you'll see me on there
Hey,
again this year.
I guess right. It is the
I
21st,
represent
24th.
Torch.
Excellent. All right, Joe. Well, have a good one. We are going to
Thanks,
say
Joe.
goodbye to the rest of the panel, but absolutely, Joe, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Wealth of information, and keep on flying and fly safe, my friend.
Yeah, and we have a spring and fall fly-in in Columbia City, just west of Fort Wayne. If anybody's interested, there's a Flight of Fort page where we promote that.
Okay. Also get up with the USPPA, because they got a page over there too with fly-ins. Have them put it on there. That way it's
That's right.
It's out there a little bit more.
Sounds great.
All
Thanks,
right, Joe.
everyone.
Thanks again, buddy. Have a good one, my friend.
Oh,
See you.
appreciate ya.
Appreciate you, Doe. Thank you.
That
See you guys.
was awesome. Thank you so much. Now let's go and say goodbye to everybody here on the panel. We'll start with I guess up here in the corner, Butch. Tell us a little bit about your flying, your shenanigans, all the cool stuff you do, and how do we find you on your social media?
You can find me on YouTube at Fly Butch Fly. You can check out ppgbutch.com. I'm everywhere. You can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, whatever.
Sounds good. Well, we'll check out
And
your.
Don't forget to go over to runintothe.sky.org and please make a donation to help the veterans, give and support those that support you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Butch. We definitely appreciate you and everything you do for us. He's actually the director of operations now over at Run to the Sky, the nonprofit to help disabled veterans and disabled people learn to fly paramotors. We actually have fabricators that can fabricate paramotors to help with whatever their disability is, to make sure that they can get into the air customized, and that's really awesome. All right, we're also going to say goodbye to Miss Linda Anderson from Paramount USA. So thank you very much for joining us. And I hear that you got a famous son that does a podcast on Thursdays. Tell us a little bit about that too.
Robert Michaels is my famous son. Paraglidingtalk.com on Thursday nights. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a show this Thursday. Like Scuba says, if he's not barbecuing, we'll probably have, we'll have a show. He does love to barbecue though. He does. But yeah, so you can catch him on Thursday nights. And then we'll have Jade on Wednesday nights, Just Want to Fly. And make sure you catch her show on Wednesday nights.
You find her at paramotorgirl.com.
Yes, thank you. Throwing that in there. But yes, thank you so much, chatters. My cat's driving me crazy. I so appreciate you all joining us on Monday nights. I just want to say much love, and we always have a good time, and thank you for all your questions and inputs and all that stuff. So we really appreciate you. So if you want to be a guest on the show, just go to ParamountUSA.com. will take you to my Facebook page and just say, I want to be on your show, Paramount, and I'll get you all set up. And that's it. So thank you again.
Actually, it goes to her own cool page, which is not her Facebook page anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what you said.
Yep. So ParamountUSA.com goes to her own page,
My
has
own
all
page.
her own social media links, all about her. It's pretty cool. You should check it out going over to ParamountUSA.com.
And
Thank you very
we
much,
have-
Linda.
Yeah, real quick, we have Trevor Hart's next Monday with 605 Paramotor.
Excellent. So 605
So
Paramotor, if you don't know, they actually just started a paramotor school and they were featured on the news.
he's really excited about being on the show next week. So
That is awesome.
my cat's like pulling on my on my hood. Anyway, I'm gonna mute myself here so you can.
I guess she muted herself. Yeah. We also got Kevin H from Mississippi. He's a new pilot and he wants to do some more foot launch, triking, all that fun stuff. How you doing, Kevin? And thank you so much for joining us tonight too, being on the panel.
Doing well. I enjoyed it. Happy Thanksgiving, belated Thanksgiving to everybody. Just learning. I've had one flight, been the past 2 weekends, and the wind just hadn't cooperated, but hopefully you'll get a flight in here, not this weekend, but the following weekend, and many more to come. So I'm planning on retiring from my job here May 31st of next year. So maybe that's all I'll do is fly. So thank you. Everybody
think about coming over here with a camper and just walking out with your cup of coffee and going flying in the morning and retire at an airfield. How horrible would that be?
I don't think it'd be horrible at all. I think it'd be great.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Kevin, that's going to be great. Your retirement's coming up really soon, so that's going to be great. So anyway, thank you so much for being on the panel. It's Scuba Steve, man. Scuba Steve.
Yo, I do a show every Friday night, 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. You can go to paramotordude.com, which will take you right over my YouTube channel, or you can look up Scuba Vapes. I'm Scuba Vapes on YouTube, Scuba Vapes on Instagram, or, just look for me. I'll be around somewhere. But thanks to all the pilots out there or all the future pilots we may have in chat. It's definitely a life-changing experience to run into the sky.
Absolutely, it really is. And once again, this is a nonprofit podcast. We transferred over to runintothesky.org, and runintothesky.org, like I said, helps disabled veterans, disabled people learn to fly and even have adaptive flying machines. So if you're interested, check out runintothesky.org, and Butch Fly is the director of operations over there. So he's always over there doing something. If he's not in a tree, he's flying around for sure.
One time.
Poor guy.
Oh well.
Get back down here and answer the damn phone.
Yeah. Speaking of, that number is 501-548-9676. If anybody wants to call, or somebody you want to, make a candidate,
There you go.
give me a call.
Absolutely. What was the phone number again for people that are listening to this and they're driving nice and
501
slow? Nice and slow.
501-548-9676.
Now you're going to get a bunch of spam in your text.
Oh well.
That's all right. I get the same thing. I put my phone number out there. Also, too, we also run Paramotor Arkansas, which is actually the flight school that trains the disabled vets. So we do that free for the nonprofit. So, help us out for everybody that comes through paramotorarkansas.com. You help another vet go through training absolutely free. So thank you so much, guys.
And for anybody out there that needs any paramotor equipment, check out paramotorarkansas.com. We'll get you hooked up with anything you need.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Anything else? Anybody? You can always find me. My name is Sean Simons. You always find me at ppggrandpa.com. Obviously, I'm over at paramotorarkansas.com, runintothesky.org. You can always listen to us at paratalk.org. Find us everywhere on the internet and your favorite podcasting apps. Just search for PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast. This is season 4, episode 197. Believe it or not, in just a couple more podcasts, we're going to be season 5 already. I cannot see us stopping anytime soon. So join us here every Monday night, clearproptv.com. Peace
That's right.
out, my friends, and fly safe. Woo. All right, see y'all.
Love you guys.
Later. Bye.
Forgot to do my hearts.
See you Friday, Scuba.
Yeah, I'll be there.
My heart
Okay.
thing's not working.
Oh,